Hey everybody, this is Robert from Black Belt Gaming, continuing my quest here to learn how to play Star Wars Edge of the Empire, and I'm starting here with the beginner game. And part one of this series, I played through part of the beginning adventure here in the beginner game adventure book. And we kind of followed the sample play that came here and took characters through the identical situation of these Gamorrean thugs chasing these guys down to the cantina where they tried to hide themselves in different spots inside. The rolls went pretty well. The bounty hunter was able to hide behind stage, and the droid was able to lock himself in the closet. The Wookiee was able to crawl up into the ceiling, into the rafters, and hide in the darkness up there where some other things are being stored. The smuggler was the only one who had any sort of disadvantage rolled during his turn when he was trying to hide underneath the table. I believe I said he may have knocked something over, spilled a drink, or broke a mug or something that could potentially catch or draw the attention of these thugs as they're coming in. So technically, just by the book, since these guys successfully hid themselves, it's supposed to jump right into the combat. But role-playing games are very flexible. So what if, in order to enjoy that little bit of tension there, with the small bump on the table and something falling off onto the floor, what if we wanted to give the thugs a chance to notice that something was just slightly out of place? Not a big chance of success, but a chance nonetheless. So how would I do that? Alright, in the adventure book here we have the stat block, the statistics for the Gamorrean thugs. And we don't have a skill list for them, but we do have their attributes up here. And I think it does give us a little bit of information on what they're rolling when they attack in melee combat, or perhaps with ranged weapons. So what are we going to do? Well, perception. I looked on the skill list, and perception is connected to cunning, and he's only got a 1. So how would I give this guy a chance to roll the dice to spot that little mishap that the smuggler had while trying to hide? He's not going to have much of a chance, but let's see if I can assemble an appropriate dice pool for that. Alright, so I'm going to roll the dice here. His cunning is 1, so let's give the thug 1 green die. Just spotting something, it's not really that difficult of a task, so let's just go with the 1 difficulty die, or what exactly is it called? I'm still getting the terminology down here. Let's see, difficulty dice, yes. So it's an easy roll, but definitely there should be an advantage for the smuggler, so that would turn into a disadvantage. Some kind of setback die for the thug to notice anything wrong. So let's give him a black one, since the smuggler is well hidden and this is just something slightly out of place. So let's give this a roll. I wonder if I should even add another purple die. I'm just looking at the difficulty levels. Easy, average. I wonder if this should be an average roll. Why don't we add 1 more? He's not going to have a good chance. It's kind of a dimly lit cantina. Let's see if he notices anything out of place. He did get a success, and he got a failure, so those are going to cancel. And then he also rolled kind of against himself there a threat, which is some sort of negative side effect. Well, maybe let's go back to our story and describe what just happened. Alright, so everybody's hidden. The thugs come in through the door. Maybe these 2 guys enter and kind of take a look around. Everybody's waiting patiently and quietly. And he starts to walk over this way, looks around, doesn't really see anything that noteworthy. He's not the brightest guy in the group, and starts to head back. So didn't notice anything, even though there was a slight little accident over here. Now it's time for the characters to strike. Maybe they can use the threat that he rolled here to some sort of advantage. Maybe they're able to attack this guy since he's going to have his back turned. The other guys are kind of looking out into the cantina, so maybe that's why he's at some sort of disadvantage there. So here we are in the book, moving into Encounter 2, a gang of Gamorreans. It just said that there's a fight that breaks out with the Gamorreans that are employed by Timo the Hutt. And it asks the question if the players were successful hiding or not. And if they were, then they have an advantage. And it says there are as many Gamorreans as there are player characters. So it's time to begin combat. We need to determine initiative. And this is based on whether the heroes were successful in hiding or not. And here you can see how the adventure book here is trying to help you with the initiative order. All of our heroes did hide successfully, so it looks like we're going to have a chance for 3 player characters to go, then the Gamorrean thugs, and then the last character to take his action or her action. A couple of things are bolded here in the text. It says that taking turns, each player character can use any player character initiative slot. So it's not really like some other games like Dungeons and Dragons where this guy is first and this guy is second. The player characters as a group can decide who's going to take that first slot and who's going to take the next slot, and it can change from round to round. Well, that's different. That's neat. And then it's said down here, on a character's turn, that character can perform a single action and a single maneuver in any order. And actions, as you might assume, are some sort of attack with a weapon, use some sort of skill, or you can actually use your action to perform a second maneuver. And what is a maneuver? Mostly it's moving or some sort of other kind of smaller action, you know, open a door, flip over a table, take cover, that kind of thing. A couple of important points. It says that you can never perform more than 2 maneuvers in a turn, and you can't do more than 1 action on your turn. And then it says using the boost die or the setback die, these are kind of independent of the difficulty, and these kind of allow you to, let's say you would aim your weapon first, you could get one of these dice to help you out. If you were in some cover, someone shooting at you would have to take one of these dice since you've got something kind of obstructing their view. So we're going to be using those in addition to the green and the purple dice. Well, looking at this map, and different from maybe something in Dungeons and Dragons where you're counting squares, range is handled a little more abstractly here. You've got these different range bands. You've got engaged, close enough to touch. You've got short range, which is a few steps away. Medium range, opposite sides of a room, and then there's long range, and that's going to determine what kind of difficulty dice you're going to need to roll against to determine whether you're successful or not in your attack. Well, let's say our smuggler here is going to draw out his blaster and peek around the corner here and fire at short range, just a few steps away. He's going to shoot this guy right in the back. Remember, this is Edge of the Empire, a game about the scoundrels of the universe, so he's not going to worry about some sort of honorable face-to-face fight. He's going to shoot him right in the back and try to take him out with one shot if he can. So let's start assembling the pool of dice. Alright, well, here's Pash, the human smuggler, and we've got his combat skills right down here. And ranged light, I believe, using his pistol here We'll check his weapons here. Yeah, his blaster pistol is a light weapon. And that's his die pool. So we're going to be rolling the yellow plus 2 green. And where does that come from? I think that comes probably from his combat skills here. He's got 1 rank, so if it's connected to agility, and his agility is 3, so one of those green dice were upgraded to a yellow due to his skill with the pistol. So that's going to be his attack pool. Attacking at short range, it said, is an easy attack. It just requires 1 of these. And then I'm definitely going to give him 1 of these boost dice for this surprise attack in the back. I wonder if there's another one I should add for some reason or another, since I'm not really making any kind of move. He's not running around. I wonder if I could have time to aim. I guess the question I have is, does drawing the blaster out count as a maneuver? If it doesn't, then I'll use his maneuver to aim and get another one of these, but let me check. I guess just looking right here, I can answer my question here by saying that getting a weapon ready does require a maneuver. So I don't think I can ready that weapon and aim. I think it just has to be a quick draw and fire. So I believe the Wookiee had his weapon ready from our descriptions before, but the smuggler didn't. So he's going to have to draw and fire, but we're going to give him that for shooting right into this guy's back. So let's see what kind of results we get. 1 success and 1 failure. Didn't work so well, but we've got 3 advantage. Let's see how that would work. Well, how do you spend this kind of advantage in combat? Well, some weapons require those advantage symbols to activate and inflict a critical injury with your weapon. But we didn't get any successes, so that's not going to work. We would need at least 1 success in order to inflict a critical injury. At least that's as far as I'm understanding. So we're going to have to explain this advantage in some other way, even though the attack was surprisingly unsuccessful trying to shoot this guy right in the back. Alright, so we have 3 advantage here, and I was looking in the rule book. This is the rule book that came with the beginner game, and it talks about spending advantage and triumphs in combat. One thing you can do is spend a point of advantage to recover strain. You can add one of those helpful dice to your ally's next attack or check. You can spend 2 to perform some sort of free maneuver if you haven't already performed 2 maneuvers in the turn. You can also add a setback die to the targeted character's next check. Or you could add a boost die to any allied character's next check, including the active character. So I could kind of save one, I guess, for my next check. So I guess one question I have is, when you spend these, do they have to be spent kind of in one place? Or can you spread them out? Can you spread 2 here and 1 here? I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's just assume that I can spend as many as I have, as long as it doesn't, I'm not trying to take too many maneuvers or anything. Let's say I'll spend 1 to grant one of my allies an advantage die, and then I'll spend 2 to perform an extra maneuver to get the table turned over to provide the smuggler with some cover. So when they're shooting at the smuggler, they're going to have to take one of these. So let's say he's going to do that, and then we'll move on to the next player character.